All right, it's day 2 of the virtual roadshow. Thank you everybody for being here. We have another jam-packed day full of trainings. Make sure you visit our virtual booths, check out our arcade, claim your Grubhub gift card. So it's going to be a great day of trainings and learning and points and prizes. I want to just thank everybody who attended yesterday and those that are new to the virtual roadshow. Thank you for attending. Yesterday was by far our best opening day ever. So really thank you all for partnering with 21st Century Distributing. Really means a lot. And hopefully we could show our gratitude by giving you a bunch of prizes and products as you are learning. So today we have a very special guest, IC Real Time. Michael, I can never pronounce your last name. Calabrito.
No, Caballero.
Caballero.
Yeah.
Just like it's spelled. That's why people look at my last name. So Michael is a trainer for IC Real Time. He's going to go over the products and technology. I have a poll question that we're going to have go live here in a second. If you could do us a big favor and answer those. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the Q&A. We'll get those answered. I have Jerry and Ryan here also from IC Real Time who could assist with that. But yeah, really appreciate y'all being here. And one other thing to note is, and it's on here as well, we are here to help you with design services. So if it's your first time with surveillance, if you're not as comfortable with it, I know it could be daunting, all of the various cameras that IC Real Time offers. We're here to make it easy for you, and IC Real Time offers tremendous support as well. So between the two of us, we get you covered. So Michael, thank you so much for hosting today. And whenever you're ready, you go ahead and share your screen too.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you
Absolutely
very much, everyone, for joining the webinar. We're going to be going over some product and technology offerings from IC Real Time. We're going to start out with our IC Home line. And a little bit about IC Real Time. IC Real Time has been around for about 18 years now. We're strictly security and surveillance. We are based out of South Florida, where I'm at, and then we also have a sister facility in Goodyear, Arizona. So we do have the ability to ship from both coasts. Stock is very good when it comes to product with IC Real Time. Also, we provide a lot of services that a lot of manufacturers won't offer with IC Real Time. So things like pre-design assistance, like Mark had mentioned. So you give us a floor plan, you give us a CAD drawing, you give us even an address. We will take that and give you a full PDF layout of the install, showing you your camera locations, your mounting heights, your coverage areas, your fields of view, as well as your doorway distances, which we'll get into in a bit. I'll actually show you an example of that design, all the way through to post install with our tech support services, our iCare team, as well as the ability to support the end user as well, which a lot of manufacturers don't do. So with IC Real Time, we do pride ourselves as being a solutions provider, not just a box mover. So with that, I'm going to start off with our IC Home line of products here. And with the IC Home line, this is meant to compete with your Ring or your Nest type offerings. Now, you all know the limitations when it comes to a Ring or Nest type offerings, and that's going to be two things. One is that there's really no margin available to you there. The customer can just go online and look at the Ring and Nest offerings, and you really have no ability to mark up those prices. And then secondly is going to be the strictly cloud storage solution, which means that you don't have any redundancy in place. So you don't have any on-site storage. You don't even have any micro SD storage, right? So with IC Real Time's IC Home offering here, you're going to find our Dinger Pro, which is going to be our 5 megapixel doorbell camera. You're also going to find our Orb Outdoor, which is going to be our 4 megapixel pan tilt camera for both indoor and outdoor installations. The Guardi and the Orb here, which are going to be a couple of indoor Wi-Fi cameras. The standout being that Orb camera. That is a standout because you have the ability to put that camera into privacy mode. So with that privacy mode function, when you hit privacy mode on the mobile application, the entire ball assembly here does turn in onto the camera, which gives you full privacy. The customer can actually see that the camera and the lens does disappear. A few fun skins for those indoor style cameras in case you're going to use those in something like as a nanny cam. And then a very simple Wi-Fi door chime. It plugs into any standard AC outlet, and it's going to give you the ability to have a chime anywhere in your home, not only at the front door. Now, with that indoor chime, do keep in mind that the Dinger Pro does come with a chime kit as well. So with that chime kit, you're going to have the ability to adapt that to the existing chime, whether that chime is an electric chime or that chime is a mechanical chime. Now, the advantages when it comes to the IC Home product line over those Ring or Nest offerings are going to be one, all of our products are map protected pricing. So the customer is not going to be able to shop for the MSRP, for the dealer price on these online. So that does allow you for some margins. Not only that, you're going to be able to offer the customer the ability for a few different methods of recording their footage. First is going to be our cloud storage solution. That would be $3 for 30 days of storage and retention per device, $6 for 90 days of storage and retention per device, and then $15 for a year of storage and retention per device. Now, if the customer wants to opt out of cloud storage, all of our devices in the IC Home product line do come with 32 gigs of micro SD storage out of the box. Not only that, but all of these devices are upgradable to 256 gigs of micro SD storage out of the box. So they could just utilize the micro SD storage if they wanted to, or have a mix of both the micro SD storage and the cloud storage for some redundancy. And lastly is going to be the ability to integrate all of these devices into the rest of the IC Home ecosystem or IC Real-Time ecosystem with the rest of the CCT cameras and the NVRs. The way you're able to do that is you're going to add any of these devices. You have the ability to add any of these devices to any of our IC Real-Time NVRs. So you can record your footage straight to the NVR hard drive, just like the rest of your CCTV cameras. And not only that, it's going to give you some integration into the ecosystem. So now when your customer is looking at their IC Real-Time security system, they will see the IC Home cameras as well, which is something that you cannot do with a Ring or a Nest offering. Your customer is going to have to switch between their CCTV system application and their Ring or Nest app. So it makes things really complicated for the customer. With IC Home, everything is fully integrated, so it's very simple to use. Now, the IC Home products do have some analytics embedded in them as well, with some human detection and some human tracking for the Orb and the Orb Outdoor. And all of these devices do come with a 7-year warranty. Now, next, we'll take a look at more of our CCTV line. And this is going to be our Edge line. And right now, we're just going to talk about cameras, and then we will discuss the recorders after. So with this Edge line of cameras, this is our cost competitive line. This is meant to compete with products like your Hikvision, your Invid, Avicon, more of your budget-minded product lines from other manufacturers. And that's what we have here. In this product line, you're going to find offerings of 2 and 4 megapixel, your bullet style camera, your Van Dome style camera, as well as your eyeball style camera. Now, the 2 and 4 megapixel, other than the resolution for these fixed lens cameras, they're basically all the configurations are going to be the same on these. So these are going to be 2 and 4 megapixel, 2.8 millimeter fixed lens with 98 feet of IR, and they are all PoE cameras as well. We do as well in this product line have a couple of varifocal cameras. So here we have an IPEG B40V IRW2. and then an IPEG D40V IRW2 as well. So your Vandal Dome varifocal camera, and then your Bullet varifocal camera. Now with these, your specs are going to be the same as well. Only difference is going to be that the Bullet gives you 164 feet of IR, and then the Dome gives you about 131 feet of IR. Now, again, these cameras are going to be for your budget-minded consumer. These are going to be for your small residential or your small commercial. So single-family homes, gas station, where you want to keep that budget in mind. Now, one thing when it comes to all of IC Realtime's products is that they are all integratable with each other. So you can mix your Edgeline cameras with maybe a higher end NVR. And the reason that you might want to do that is if you want some of the analytics that these cameras lack, and we'll talk about that in a second, you can supplement those with our NVRs. So what do I mean by that? So with these Edgeline products, to keep the cost down on them, they don't utilize some of our more advanced analytics, our intelligent motion detection, our line crossing, our tripwires, and intrusion zones. So with that, if you wanted to have some of that functionality but keep the cost down, you could use our Edgeline cameras and then use things like our MX, FX, or Elite recorders, and you're going to have the ability to utilize the analytics that come off the recorder and apply them to these cameras that wouldn't normally have those analytics. So something to keep in mind there. Now, this line is going to also have a 7-year limited warranty as well. So do keep that in mind when it comes to the IC Home and the Edgeline, that you do have a 7-year limited warranty. Now we're going to take a look at the Max, the Flex, and the Elite lines, and those are going to give you a 10-year limited warranty.
Got a couple of questions here, Michael, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see here. The IC Home versus Edge, what percentage do you think you guys sell? Do you sell more of IC Home than Edge? Our customers do sell a lot of Ring and obviously Google Home. Where does that IC Home compare with Edge?
So Edge is going to be, of course, it's really a different product. With the Edge line, this is going to be your hardened aluminum housing. This is going to be your CCTV type cameras, where the IC Home line is more of your plastic cameras, meant for kind of a DIY solution for the customer, as well as being installed by yourselves as dealers. So they're really kind of an apples to oranges kind of thing. The IC Home line really is supplemental to the Edge, and then the rest of the Max and Flex and Elite line as our full CCTV surveillance line, where the Home line is our observational line. So it's fractional compared to the rest of the CCTV line, which is really.
So I know that I believe Ring does integrate with CCTV through OnVIF. I have a question. Are you able to integrate IC Realtime and NVRs with like Google Home, for instance?
We are. All of our IC Realtime NVRs and cameras are OnVIF compatible. They are OnVIF 2.4 Profile SMNT.
Okay. Let's see, another question. Backwards compatible with older IC Realtime systems?
Yes, so our cameras are backwards compatible with older IC Realtime NVRs, and vice versa. Our older cameras are compatible with our newer NVRs. I would say you want to kind of stick with anything 2015, 2016 or newer to keep that compatibility up to date.
Good question here too. Final one until we can move on. Is the equipment NDA compliant?
Not quite yet, but we are TAA compliant. There's a bit of a difference there. TAA is stricter than NDA compliant, and we're just waiting for some software to be released. But the TA compliancy, all of our gear is manufactured out of South Korea, which gives us that TAA compliancy. And what that TAA compliant means that any Chinese manufacturer is banned from government installs. NDAA only limits certain manufacturers out of China from government installs. So TAA is a bit of a stricter compliancy than NDAA would be.
Very good. Sorry, putting you on the spot here a lot. Yeah,
No worries.
so thank you for the questions. Last one, we can move on. Do you have a video doorbell that allow for recording locally on an SD card? If so, how long would it store footage?
That's a great question. That would be the Dinger Pro here. It does come with 32 gigs of micro SD storage in the box. All of the IC Home devices do, and they're upgradable to 256 gigs. The 32 gigs of micro SD storage will give you roughly around 7 to 9 days of storage. The 256 gig will give you roughly, and this is continuous recording, will give you roughly about 22 to 29 days of recording. Now, if you record only in motion, you might get quite a bit more depending on the activity that the camera is looking at. Again, it's only using human detection and motor vehicle detection there. So it's not going to be bogged down with a lot of false positives. So there you could get quite a bit more days depending on that activity.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we're going to get into the Max line. Now, everything that we look at going forward here is going to be a 10-year limited warranty. So do keep that in mind. We go from the 7-year with the IC Home and the Edge line to that 10-year limited warranty with the Max, Flex, and Elite line. So the Max line and the Flex line are going to be our mid-range offerings. So one thing that is of note is that we may have a lot of integrators on this call as well, is that the IC Home line does have some limited integration capabilities through OnVIF or RTSP. The Edge line does not integrate with your home automation systems. The Max, Flex, and the Elite line all are integratable, whether it's Control4, Crestron, Savant. You're going to have that integration capability available to you there with all of these product lines here. Now, you'll see it's a little confusing where the Edge and the Elite line have a mix of fixed lens and varifocal cameras. The Max line is strictly varifocal, and the Flex line is strictly, I'm sorry, the Max line is strictly fixed lens, and the Flex line is strictly varifocal. So now with this Max line here, so we have a little bit of mistake being uploaded there. Bear with me for 1 second here, everyone. Looks like this did not update. And while we're waiting for that to load, you're going to find a few different products in the Max line. That's going to be fixed lens, and all of those cameras are going to be 2.8 millimeter fixed lens cameras. Again, bear with me 1 second, just a little bit slow to load here. Now, what you're going to find in this product line is going to be 2 and 4 megapixel cameras. You're going to find in the product line as well your bullets, your turrets, and your van loop domes. Now, with that, you're going to find a few standout products as well. It looks like my search here is not cooperating. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulty that we're having here. So what you're going to find in that product line as well is going to be our wedge dome camera that you see here while this is loading. Extremely popular for integration, as the wedge dome is a small form factor, small footprint camera as well. So very slim camera there, very small footprint during your install. You're also going to find in the product line our black housing cameras like you see here. So the advantage that you have with IC Real-Time is all of our black housing cameras are going to give you the capability to have your accessories in black as well. So all the black housing cameras will be available with black back boxes, black wall mounts, black pole mounts as well. So you have all of your accessories available to you there. You're also going to find in our product line our LED cameras. So IPMX E40FW1 LED. We do have a Vandal dome as well. And in that product line with the LED cameras, these are going to be your white light LEDs. So instead of IRs, you're going to have just your LED cameras acting as very much spotlights coming from the camera. Now, they're extremely useful for your commercial installs. For your residential installs, those lights stay on pretty much throughout the night. So sunset to sunrise, those LED lights are going to stay on. So they may not be useful for your residential installs. However, we do have in this product line as well our active deterrent cameras. Now, the active deterrent cameras are going to give you the ability to have some active deterrent functionalities. And that functions within have the capability of the camera having red and blue strobe lights. And also with a built-in microphone and built-in speaker, it's also able to trigger sirens as well. Now, that's extremely useful, again, especially for your residential or more so commercial. With residential, they may not like the red and blue strobe lights or the siren. The great thing is you do have the ability to turn those active deterrent functions off. So the strobe lights, the sirens, you can disable those. And one advantage this camera has over the LED camera is going to be that with this camera, you do have an integrated white light LED, but you also have an integrated IR as well. So it's a dual illumination camera. With that dual illumination, you'll have the ability to, for residential installs, have those IRs running at nighttime. And only when motion occurs from humans or motor vehicles is the white light LED going to turn on to give you color at nighttime, and give you the ability to identify someone. And then once that motion stops, that white light LED will turn off and the camera will resume with its IR functionality. We have this camera in both a bullet and the eyeball that you see here, as well as in our panoramic camera as well. So next, we'll take a look at our Flex line. And as I mentioned, where the Max line consisted of all of our fixed lens camera, the Flex line is going to consist of all of our varifocal cameras. Now, it will also you'll have your PTZs in this product line as well, except for one that will be in the Elite line. So with this, all of our varifocal cameras, you're going to find about 2.7 to 12.5 or 13.5 millimeters of that focal length available to you. You'll find these cameras in 4 megapixel and 8 megapixel in both white and black housings with all the black housings accessories that I mentioned. You'll also find your eyeballs, your bullets, and your Vandal domes as well. Now, in this line, you're also going to find, like I mentioned, PTZs. We have a new entry here with our IPFX P2025. So that's going to be a 2 megapixel, 25 times optical zoom, really more of an entry level PTZ for a customer who might be looking for just a cost competitive PTZ. Now with this, these are pretty small form factors. They're still your large industrial size PTZs, but for those, what you usually see in a typical larger PTZs, these are on the smaller side. And we have that in a 22 megapixel, 25 times optical zoom. We also offer that in a 4 megapixel, 32 times optical zoom as well. Now, for your customers who may want something more of a smaller form factor PTZ as well, we do have our IPFX P4004 W1. This is going to be a 4 megapixel, 4 times optical zoom PTZ, with the advantage here being that it's very useful for your residential installs as it's extremely small. This is in diameter about the same size as a mid-size Vandal dome camera. So very small form factor for those customers who may want some PTZ functionality available to them. Now, if they want a little bit of a higher form factor, a little bit of a longer distance, a little bit slightly larger, this would be the same size as a full-size dome, but it's a 2 megapixel, 12 times optical zoom PTZ as well. So you can offer PTZs to your residential customers. and they won't break the bank. And these are much smaller form factors, much more useful for your residential installs. Now, next here, we have our Elite line, and we'll probably get a lot of questions from these cameras. The Elite line is going to consist of our more exceptional cameras, our more purpose-built cameras for different situations. Example of that would be our IPEL B40V LPR1. So this is a full-fledged LPR camera with some of those active deterrent functionalities as well. It does have the white light LEDs. It does have dual illumination with IRs. It does have red and blue strobe lights, and it does have a built-in microphone and a built-in speaker as well. As it is an LPR, it does give you the ability to do your license plate style searches as well. So you can do your search on the NVR, and it will show you all the license plates that have appeared on your cameras. With some of our certain NVRs, it will give you the ability to do motor vehicle searches as well. So if you can do not only searches for license plate numbers, but you have the ability to do searches for the color of the vehicle, the type of vehicle, the logo of the vehicle as well. So very broad camera in terms of capability here. We also have available our 12 megapixel cameras, IPEL D12V, IRW3, and B12V, IRW3 as well. Now, one of the things about these cameras is that 12 megapixel resolution. Now, 12 megapixel resolution, a lot of people wonder why you would go beyond 8 megapixel cameras to a 12 megapixel resolution. Especially that you can't really see that on most televisions or monitors. And really the reason why you would use a 12 megapixel camera is if the forensic nature or the after the fact recording is important to the customer. Because with your 12 megapixel, what you get more of is your digital zoom, right? That ability to digitally zoom into an image. As most of you may know, when you digitally zoom, the further you go out, the more that the image pixelates, right? So with a 2 megapixel, it pixelates much more at the same distance than a 4 megapixel, and even less so than an 8 megapixel, and then a 12 takes that even further. So you can zoom out further without degrading the image, the higher the resolution. And that digital zoom is one of the only things that you can do after the fact. After the video's already been recorded, the only thing you still have the ability to do is to digitally zoom if you wanted to do that. And the higher the resolution, the more distance you get from that digital zoom. Now, we also have our IPEL PB80F ADW1. So I did mention with our active deterrent cameras that we did have a panoramic camera as well. So this is our full panoramic camera. It's dual lens to give you that panoramic 180-degree field of view. And not only that, you still get all of the full active deterrent functionality as well. So you get the white light LEDs, you get your IRs, you get your red and blue strobe lights, you get your dual microphones and your built-in speaker as well. This is an extremely popular camera for residential or commercial. It covers a pretty wide area, so extremely useful camera here.
Michael, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but
Sure.
you have are you going to go over the NVRs that pair up with these cameras as well, or the recommended NVR?
Okay. I will. What I'm covering next is all of the NVRs in the product line.
Just real quick too, we got a couple more questions. I think this is more for integration, specifically Lutron. I guess what Lutron integration, or I guess all the control platforms in general.
Sure. So for home, when I reference integration, it's going to be with all of your home automation platforms, right? So like your Crestron, your Control4, your Savant, pretty much all the players out there right now, Josh AI, you're going to find that integration compatibility with.
Yeah, I think was it Debib here just asked that question about Lutron. I believe that's going to be through your control platform.
It is. It's going to be through the home automation platform. So what you can do, for example, something like a Control4 or a Savant is give you the ability to, for the analytics that are built into our cameras, our intelligent motion detection, our line crossing, our tripwires and intrusion zones, they can actually trigger scenes with the home automation. So if you wanted your cameras, once a human walked into the camera that covers the front door to trigger the Lutron lights in the home, that would be done through the home automation system.
We do RTI and URC. Do you have integration with those?
And we do absolutely integrate with RTI and with URC as well.
Let's see, if there's a customer that already has some existing IP cameras, will they be able to work with IC real-time NVRs?
That's a fantastic question. That's a fantastic question, and yes, they will. And not only that, when we take a look at the NVRs next, you're going to see that our NVRs now leverage analytics coming from that NVR, which you can apply to any camera that you add to the IC real-time NVR. That includes our older cameras, our newer cameras from the Edge line that doesn't have those analytics, and third-party cameras as well. So you can really take your customer up to the next level, bringing in a newer IC real-time NVR.
Perfect.
Awesome. So what you're going to also find in this product line are going to be cameras like our fisheye cameras. So our IPEL F12F IRW2, as well as our IPEL F50F W2. So this is going to be a 12 megapixel and then a 5 megapixel fisheye lens camera. The 12 megapixel is going to be a slightly larger camera with a built-in microphone and a built-in speaker with 30 feet of IR. F50 is going to be a smaller form factor camera. Does not have IR, do keep that in mind, but it does have a Starlight chipset. So all it needs is some low ambient light. And you're gonna go without the IRs, and then again that smaller form factor, built-in microphone, but no built-in speaker there. We also have thermal offerings as well. THIP P4078. So this is going to be a thermal camera that gives you the ability to configure the analytics to send notifications when temperatures go above a certain threshold or below a certain threshold as well. You'll also find in this line our dual lens cameras, so extremely useful both for commercial and residential installs. This can be installed indoor or outdoor. For indoors, many people use them at corridors where corridors meet up. You can mount this in that corner and then have one lens looking in one direction and have one lens looking the other direction. For residential installs, they use these all the time, especially for the corner of your houses. You can mount one of these and have them looking inside of the house, have one lens looking at the front of the house. The advantage with our multi-lens offerings like our dual lens here and our quad lens here is going to be that it's a single cable run back to a PoE switch. So even though it's 4 lenses or 2 lenses and 4 channels or 2 channels, it is one single cable run back to a switch and only occupies one port on that PoE switch. And then lastly, for the standout cameras in this product line are going to be the IPEL P8040X IRW2 AI. So this is going to be one of our best cameras in the product line. 8 megapixel, 4K resolution, 40 times optical zoom, and 640 feet of smart IR with high PoE capability. Excuse me. Now from here, we'll take a look at our NVRs.
Another quick question, Michael, before we go on to that, another great question from Peter. The IP panoramic cameras, you just use a single Cat 5 or Cat 6 or multiple?
They do, yes. It's a single channel and a single cable run. So unlike the dual lens and the quad lens that occupy 2 channels or 4 channels on the NVR, though the panoramic is dual lens, it sticks together, so it only occupies 1 channel and it's only 1 cable. Now, just like our cameras, we're going to have different product lines for our NVRs as well. So for that Edge line we looked at, and again, you can mix and match any of these. You can use our Elite cameras on an Edge recorder, excuse me, as well as using our Edge recorders on our Edge cameras on our Elite NVRs. So NVR EG08, this is going to be a very straightforward 12 megapixel support. It's a small form factor NVR, just maximum 10 terabytes of storage. So it's got one hard drive bay supporting up to 10 terabytes. You're going to get about 80 megabits of throughput here. So do keep in mind, this is really for your 2 and 4 megapixel cameras. Though it supports up to 12 megapixels, with that 80 megabits of throughput, it's really going to be 1 or 2 12 megapixel cameras it's going to be able to support. So do keep that in mind. And you're going to get 8 ports of built-in PoE on that NVR as well. So integrated PoE on the NVR EG08. And then the next 2 NVRs we're going to look at, actually 4 NVRs, is going to be our Max and our Flex line NVRs. And that would be our NVR MX08 PoE, our NVR MX16 PoE. Then we have our NVR FX08 and our NVR FX16 PoE. That PoE indicates that those 4 recorders do have integrated PoE switches. Now, the difference between the MX line and the FX line is simply the chassis size. Otherwise, they are virtually identical. It's just the MX is your shelf mount, so smaller chassis, a little bit less wide, a little bit less deep, meant for your shelf mounting or in a closet. And then your FX, which is your rack mountable NVR. So both are 1U. MX is smaller. NVR FX is going to be wider and deeper for rack mounting with the rack ears in the box. Other than that, they're all going to, all 4 of these are going to support up to 32 terabytes of storage. They are 8 and 16 port integrated PoE with support for up to 32 megapixel. I'm sorry, up to 16 megapixel cameras with a bandwidth available of 256 megabits. Now, when it comes to the NVRs, we talked about the having the ability to leverage some of those analytics coming from the NVRs. And what's important here when you're looking at that is taking a look at the spec sheet. The spec sheet is going to indicate to you what analytics and how many channels of those are coming from the NVR. So as an example here, for your perimeter protection, your tripwires, your intrusion zones, you're going to have human and motor vehicle detection on 2 channels for those line crossings. What that means is you can apply the analytics to 2 cameras on that NVR from the recorder. For the intelligent motion detection, that's going to be on 4 channels of that NVR coming from the recorder. So you can apply those analytics to up to 4 channels. Now, these NVRs do come with 1 channel of face detection and face recognition. That's going to give you that ability to identify faces and then do facial recognition where it will compare those faces. And you can do that on 1 channel on the NVR FX and MX 08 and 16. And then you do have license plate comparison and recognition on 4 channels if you're using our LPR camera. So that is very important that you have to use that LPR camera. However, this gives you a much less barrier of entry to offer LPR than what we previously offered, because previous to this upgrade for the MX and FX, you could not offer LPR on these NVRs. Now, one of the big breakouts for these NVRs, both the NVR MX and the FX, is with the integrated PoE switch on our NVRs. They used to be isolated. So what that meant was if you were integrating with a control system, you would have to use a network switch for the cameras. Well, now you have the ability to put any of these NVRs with these integrated PoE switches into bridge mode. And that's going to give you the ability to make those cameras visible from the local area network. So now you can use the integrated PoE switch on that NVR and simply stream from the cameras to the control systems without needing a network switch. Now from there, we take you to a very nice stopgap between the 16 channel and the 32 channel, which is our NVR FX24 PoE. So this is going to be a 24 channel NVR with 24 ports of integrated PoE. 1.5U rack mountable. And again, this recorder does offer that bridge mode, gives you support for up to 32 megapixel cameras with up to 384 megabits of integrated PoE. Now, this 24 channel and the NVR EL16, which takes us into our elite offerings, are going to give you the ability to have some of those analytics and take those a bit further. So with that, with those onboard analytics, when you go to the 24 channel or the NVR EL16, you're going to have a little more availability for those analytics. So here, perimeter protection, tripwire and intrusion zones. Now it's 4 channels coming from the recorder to any camera. For the intelligent motion detection, that jumps to 8 channels. For the face detection and face recognition, that jumps to 2 channels. If the camera supports video metadata, which we'll take a look at in a second, you'll have that capability as well. And then license plate recognition on up to 8 channels. Now, when we look at, when we go from there to the Elite 32 and 64 channels, you're going to see a huge jump there as well. So when it comes to the Elite NVRs, those are dual NIC NVRs. They do not have integrated PoE on those. So you would use a network switch and you can just bring the cameras in over the local area network, or you can use the secondary NIC card on the NVR. Now with that, when it comes to the analytics, you're going to get, for perimeter protection, now you're going to get on the 32 and 64 channels up to 24 channels of the line crossing. For intelligent motion detection, you'll get up to 32 channels. For the face detection and face recognition, you'll get up to 4 channels. For video metadata, you'll get 8 channels by NVR, which means up to 8 channels you can apply video metadata from the actual NVR, and then you'll get 8 channels of license plate recognition as well. Now, lastly, we have 2 NVRs in the product line. These are really more of your enterprise level offerings here, really for long-term storage and high channel counts. NVR EL128. So this is a very, very large 4U rack mountable NVR with support for up to 128 cameras with 160 terabytes of storage available to you. Again, really for your more enterprise solutions. And we go from there to the NVR 8256. So a 256 channel NVR. This even gives you even more storage as well. 24 hard drive bays with each hard drive bay supporting up to 16 terabytes of storage and about 768 megabits of throughput. So really much more of your enterprise level offerings for that long-term storage. Now, lastly, bear with me here. I've been running into a little bit of some bandwidth delay here, some network issues. I'm going to reload this. And what I'd like to do here is show you some of the technology that we're talking about when we talk about what we can leverage from that NVR. Doing that, let me just close some windows here, maybe open up some more bandwidth.
Michael, you want me to go through some questions real quick while it's loading?
Yeah, go ahead and go through some questions while I'm loading this up.
Let's see here. We got one of these. How many hard drives can be added to an NVR?
So it really depends on the NVR you select. As you saw there, our NVRs have, the different NVRs have different hard drive limitations. So the Edge NVR, you can add up to 10 terabytes of storage. The Max and Flex NVRs, you can add up to 32 terabytes of storage. The 24 channel NVR, you can support up to 128 terabytes of storage. Same for the NVR EL16. NVR EL32 and NVR EL64. Those will all support up to 128 terabytes of storage. And then, of course, you have the enterprise level recorders, 160 terabytes of storage on the 128 channel. On the 256, I believe it's 256 terabytes of storage on that.
Are the analytics processed locally on the NVR, or is it processed in the cloud?
There's no cloud processing at this point. The analytics are either processed on the camera or on the NVR. directly. And what that means is without having to rely on the cloud, there's no extra cost to the customer for these analytics. So that means the analytics that are on the camera belong to the customer. They can use those whenever they choose to.
And Les asks, is it best to set analytics in the camera itself or in the NVR?
So that's a fantastic question. If the camera supports the analytics that you want, you have the ability to use the cameras, the analytics on the camera side. However, if you're using something like an edge camera or a third-party camera, or even an older IC real-time camera that may not have those analytics, then that's when I would leverage those from the NVR.
Perfect. All right, we have a few more, but why don't we go through this?
Sure. So what I'm taking you through here is these are some of the onboard analytics, not only from the NVR but coming from the cameras as well. I'm going to show you more of the more exceptional analytics here. So things like face detection. This is coming from the NVR here. So I'm able to go back 7 days. I have some metadata search parameters that I can use, like gender, age, glasses, beard, right? So I can do my searches there. And I can pull up all of the faces that have appeared on that camera in that time frame. Not only that, but I do have the ability as well to then export these faces as well if I need to use these for my facial recognition. Now, when it comes to facial recognition, the facial recognition is based on a database that you as the dealer would work with the customer to create. So here on the alert center, here are my different databases that I have available. And what I've done here is I've uploaded different images of different employees in the company into that database to then do the facial comparisons of those. And not only can you do a standard database, it has a passerby database, which what that does is that gives you comparisons of people who have been on your cameras more than once. You can also create your own databases, so like a shoplifter database, or let's say for residential, if a customer has something like a stalker or somebody who's consistently, a porch pirate coming to the house and stealing packages. Once you have their image, you can then upload that into your database and receive notifications when these people appear on your cameras. Now, once you have your database created, then you can come here to facial recognition. You again have some metadata search ability here. And here's all of your facial comparisons that's going to appear on the databases. And you're going to have those with the probability factors of all those matches. So extremely useful and saves your customers quite a bit of time when they're trying to search for things that they're looking for. Now, what we're going to look at next is some of our IVS instances. IVS is going to be our line crossings, tripwires, intrusion zones. And what this will indicate to you is going to be your human detections, motor vehicle detections. Now with the Lays, I'm not going to play any videos here, but as you can see, they're very accurate when it comes to motor vehicle detections or human detections. All of these being captured by our LPRs are all motor vehicles on the exterior. And then when you come into the indoor cameras, all of those are going to be your human detections with those captures indicating that they are a human there. And those are all built around our line crossing, your tripwires, your intrusion zones. You have that ability to create. Now, next we're going to look at, I did mention video metadata, and many of you probably wonder what video metadata is. So when it comes to CCTV, video metadata means it's information about the video or image that's been injected with information that then makes those videos or image searchable here. So when that video hits the NVR, all of the metadata or all of the information about that video gets injected into the NVR, right? And then it gives you the ability to search for things like if you're searching for a person and you know the color or what kind of shirt they were wearing, you can select long sleeve, short sleeve. If you know the color of that top, you can search for that as well. Bottoms, pants, shorts, skirts. You can search for that. Bottom colors, different types of bags, different types of hats. As you can see, gender, age. So an example of here in the last 7 days, I know I was wearing my IC Real-Time red shirt, short sleeve with my blue jeans. So I'll select pants in the color blue. Do that search for the last 7 days. Oh, I'm just waiting for that to load here. Okay, why is that a problem? Okay, looks like we're having a bit of technical difficulty there on the NVR. I'm going to have to address that at a later time, just due to time constraints. But what would happen there is you would get all of your search results of everybody wearing short sleeve red shirts and blue jeans. Again, I apologize greatly for that analytic not functioning. We'll go ahead and do the metadata consists of not only the human detection, but motor vehicle detection and non-motor vehicle detection as well. So if I wanted to search for all red vehicles on my cameras along with license plate recognition. So here's all of my red motor vehicle captures. Where there is a license plate available, you do have your license plate capture. As this is also utilizing the analytics for the video metadata, you do have the ability to just search for vehicles as well without the license plate available.
That's great.
So these are some, a lot of analytics that come from the NVR that you can leverage from the NVR or from the cameras, depending. And again, pay attention to the spec sheets when you're looking at those or talking to your inside sales rep to drill down what it is, what analytic you want from the cameras or the NVR.
We got about 1 more minute, Michael.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's about it for me. Any other questions before we close out?
Yeah. Just real quick here. For DoD installs, what security measures are in place to protect the camera feeds from unauthorized access?
That's a fantastic question here. I'll go ahead and share my screen again really quick, and I'll just show you a little bit of our security protection we have available here. So under advanced settings and on the network here and under security, you're going to see all of your security statuses, right? Your system service functionality. So you have attack the defenses available, firmware encryptions, your security warnings, your login authentication. You can configure the NVR comes out of the box configured with your digest authentication as opposed to your basic authentication. So with digest authentication, if you're not familiar, the credentials for the NVR are encrypted not only end to end, but in transit as well. You can turn off any functions that you may deem risky, like CGI or ONVIF compatibility or NTP server availability. You can configure your HTTPS certificates as well. You do have full attack defense capabilities for firewall, account lockouts, anti-denial of service attacks, CA certificates. We even configure AV encryption if necessary from the NVR as well. So full certification there. We are right now waiting for FIPS certification as well. We should see that pretty soon. We've been waiting quite a long time for that FIPS 2 certification.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Michael. Again,
Absolutely.
if you guys have any questions out there, especially on design questions, reach out to us at 21st Century Distributing. We can help work through your project with all the necessary cameras, NVRs that you need. That's perfect for your project. 50 points for being in this webinar. Really appreciate IC Real-Time for your support. And we will talk to you guys soon. See you on the next training.
Thank you very much, everyone.